There is something happening inside you right now. Not outside, not in the world around you, but deep within the invisible architecture of your biology. Inside every single cell of your body, a process is either working for you or quietly failing you, and most people will live their entire lives never knowing it exists. This process doesn't make headlines the way new diets do. It doesn't get marketed on supplement bottles or trending wellness apps. But scientists who have spent decades studying the human body believe it may be one of the most powerful mechanisms ever discovered for slowing aging, preventing disease, and restoring the body from the inside out. It's called autophagy. And before you scroll past that word thinking it sounds too clinical to matter to your life, stay with me, because what you're about to learn will permanently change the way you think about hunger, healing, and what your body is actually capable of. The word autophagy comes from the Greek meaning self-eating. And yes, the first time most people hear that, it sounds like something terrifying, like your body is turning against itself, but the reality is the complete opposite. Imagine you hired the most efficient cleaning crew on the planet, one that worked around the clock without complaining, without asking for a lunch break, without needing any outside resources. Their job was to sweep through every room of a massive building, identify everything broken, worn out, or no longer useful, and then rather than throwing it away, they would disassemble it piece by piece and rebuild something new from the raw materials. That is what autophagy does. Except the building is your body, and the rooms are your cells, and this process has been quietly running since the first moments of your life.
For most of modern medical history, scientists didn't fully appreciate how critical this mechanism was. Cells were studied, diseases were mapped, treatments were developed, but the internal recycling system operating at the heart of cellular life was largely overlooked. That changed in a profound way when Japanese cell biologist Yoshinori Ohsumi turned his attention to something most researchers considered too simple to be interesting: yeast. In the 1990s, Ohsumi began depriving yeast cells of nutrients in a controlled laboratory setting. What he observed under his microscope stopped him cold. Instead of simply dying as expected, the cells began doing something extraordinary. Tiny membrane sacs, which scientists would later call autophagosomes, started forming inside the cells and engulfing damaged proteins, broken organelles, and cellular debris. The cells weren't dying. They were eating themselves, strategically, selectively, and brilliantly, converting their own waste into survival fuel. In 2016, the world formally recognized the magnitude of that discovery when Ohsumi was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. But the implications of his work had already been reshaping medicine for years before that moment arrived. What researchers found next was not just surprising, it was paradigm shifting. This process wasn't unique to yeast. Human cells did the same thing. And more strikingly, when autophagy failed or slowed down, something deeply troubling followed. The diseases that define modern suffering, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, cancer, type 2 diabetes, chronic inflammation, accelerated aging, all of them showed strong associations with impaired autophagy. The cellular garbage was piling up, and the body was paying the price. Scientists began asking a question that would consume the next 2 decades of longevity research. If autophagy is so essential, can we control it? Can we turn it on deliberately? And if so, how?
The answer, it turns out, was sitting in one of the oldest human practices in existence: fasting. Not the trendy intermittent fasting you see promoted in fitness circles, though that's part of it. Not the religious rituals of abstinence practiced across cultures for thousands of years, though those too tapped into something real without knowing the science. The answer was simpler and more profound than anyone expected. When you stop eating, your body shifts, not gradually, not reluctantly, but with extraordinary biological precision. It moves from a state of constant building and storing into a state of cleaning and repair. And in that shift lies one of the most powerful tools for human health ever identified. But here's the question that drives everything, the one that sits at the center of every conversation about fasting and longevity and cellular health. How long do you actually have to fast before autophagy wakes up? Not a vague estimate, not a rough guess. The precise biological timeline your body follows, hour by hour, as it moves from digestion to deep repair. That is what we are going to walk through, and the answer is not what most people expect. In the first few hours after your last meal, your body is doing what it always does after eating: digesting, processing, distributing nutrients. Insulin levels are elevated, signaling cells to absorb glucose from the bloodstream. Your liver is busy converting excess sugar into glycogen and storing it for later. Your muscles are fueled. Your brain is fed. Everything feels normal because everything is normal. Your body is in fed mode. And in fed mode, there is no signal, no urgency, no reason for the cellular cleanup crew to clock in. Growth pathways are active, building is happening. Autophagy is essentially switched off. This is important to understand because many people believe that simply eating less throughout the day is enough to trigger meaningful autophagy. It isn't. The process requires a sustained absence of nutrients, not just a smaller plate at dinner. Your body needs to sense real scarcity before it initiates the repair protocol. And in those first few hours, scarcity hasn't arrived yet.
As you move past the 6-hour mark, things begin to shift subtly. Blood glucose levels start to fall. Insulin, which had been elevated, begins to drop. Your liver starts pulling from glycogen stores to keep blood sugar stable. Norepinephrine begins to rise, keeping you alert even without incoming fuel. Growth hormone starts to tick upward, working quietly in the background to protect your muscle tissue. Your body is beginning to sense that food is not coming, and it is preparing accordingly. But autophagy is still not fully online. Your cells are testing the environment, sensing the drop in nutrients, recalibrating their internal signals. Think of it like a factory that has received word the supply trucks might be delayed. The workers aren't in crisis mode yet, but the manager has started checking inventory and turning off unnecessary lights. Somewhere between the 10 and 12-hour marks, something more significant begins to happen. Your glycogen stores are running low. Your body is making a metabolic pivot, shifting from glucose as its primary fuel source to fat. This is the metabolic state many people call fat-burning mode. And while it's celebrated for its weight loss implications, what most people don't realize is that this metabolic shift is also one of the first biochemical preconditions for autophagy. As fat metabolism ramps up and ketone bodies begin to appear in the bloodstream, internal sensors in your cells called AMPK, which stands for AMP-activated protein kinase, begin to register the change. These sensors are ancient. They evolved long before modern humans existed, back when survival depended entirely on the ability to detect scarcity and respond intelligently. When AMPK activates, it does two critical things. It begins to suppress mTOR, the master growth regulator that, when active, keeps autophagy switched off. And it begins to activate the pathways that initiate cellular cleanup. The cleanup crew is not just warming up now, they are changing into their uniforms.
By the time you cross the 16-hour mark, the shift is no longer subtle. Autophagy has moved from a whisper to an active process. Autophagiosomes, those specialized membrane structures that Ohsumi first observed in his yeast experiments, are forming throughout your cells. They are identifying and engulfing damaged proteins, misfolded enzymes, and dysfunctional mitochondria. Old cellular machinery that was once quietly causing inflammation and inefficiency is now being broken down and repurposed. Your cells are doing what no supplement, no pill, no injection has ever been able to fully replicate. They are healing themselves. At this stage, many people who fast report something unexpected: mental clarity, a kind of quiet sharpness that feels different from a caffeine buzz. What is driving it? Part of it is the stabilization of blood sugar, which eliminates the glucose spikes and crashes that create mental fog. Part of it is the rise in BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a compound that supports the growth and maintenance of neurons and is strongly associated with improved learning, memory, and mood. Your brain, in a fasting state, is not suffering. It is thriving, because this is the environment it was designed for, a state of mild metabolic stress that triggers growth, adaptation, and repair, not just in your muscles, not just in your gut, but in the most complex and precious tissue in your body. Some people will feel discomfort at this stage as well: a dull headache, a wave of fatigue, a feeling of restlessness. These are normal. They are signs of adaptation, your body recalibrating after years or decades of constant feeding. They are not warning signs to stop. They are signals of transition. And if you can move through them with patience and proper hydration, what waits on the other side is genuinely remarkable.
When you reach the 24-hour mark, you have crossed into what many researchers refer to as the deep repair zone. Glycogen stores are almost entirely depleted. Insulin is at its lowest. Fat metabolism is dominant, and autophagy is running at a level of activity that researchers believe has profound implications for long-term health. At this stage, the cellular recycling isn't just targeting proteins and enzymes, it's targeting entire organelles. Mitochondria, the energy-producing structures inside your cells that are also some of the most vulnerable to damage over time, become primary targets of a specialized form of autophagy called mitophagy. Damaged mitochondria don't just reduce your energy levels, they actively contribute to oxidative stress, inflammation, and cellular aging. Clearing them out and replacing them with fresh, functional versions is one of the most significant anti-aging interventions your body can perform, and it does it for free, with no outside help, given enough time without food. The immune system benefits at this stage in ways that are genuinely extraordinary. Research from the University of Southern California, led by longevity scientist Walter Longo, demonstrated that prolonged fasting triggers a regenerative reset in the immune system. Old, worn-out white blood cells are cleared away. Stem cells in the bone marrow are activated to produce new immune cells. It is as if your body's defense network is being rebuilt from the foundation up. The implications for disease prevention and recovery are profound and are still being fully understood by the scientific community. But the 24-hour mark also demands respect. Hydration becomes critical at this stage. Your kidneys are excreting more electrolytes as insulin levels stay low. If you are not consciously replacing sodium, potassium, and magnesium, you will feel the effects in the form of muscle cramps, dizziness, or brain fog that has nothing to do with autophagy and everything to do with mineral depletion. This is one of the most common mistakes people make when extended fasting, and it is entirely preventable. Water is not enough. Electrolytes are essential.
As you move past 24 hours and approach the 36-hour window, you enter what the science suggests is the most potent zone for autophagic activity. This is not a zone that most people will need to visit regularly, but understanding it reveals just how extraordinary the human body's capacity for self-renewal truly is. mTOR, the growth pathway that acts as autophagy's off switch, remains deeply suppressed. Autophagic flux, the rate at which cellular material is being processed and recycled, reaches its peak efficiency, and growth hormone, which has been gradually climbing throughout the fast, can reach levels up to 5 times higher than baseline. This hormonal surge serves a critical dual purpose. It preserves lean muscle tissue, ensuring that the body is not cannibalizing its own strength in the search for fuel, and it accelerates fat metabolism, ensuring that the cellular recycling process is well supplied with energy to run at full capacity. The regenerative activity happening at this level is what longevity researchers point to when they talk about the anti-aging potential of fasting. The cellular landscape after a 36-hour fast is meaningfully different from what it was before. Less oxidative damage, fewer dysfunctional proteins, more efficient mitochondria, a recalibrated immune system, reduced systemic inflammation. These are not theoretical benefits. They are measurable, documented outcomes that appear consistently in the research literature. And they are the outcomes of a biological process that your body is entirely capable of performing on its own, given the right conditions and enough time. But this is also the point where wisdom matters more than willpower. Because beyond the 36-hour window, the balance begins to tip. The body, sensing prolonged nutrient deprivation, starts to shift from strategic repair into emergency survival. Cortisol levels rise, the stress response activates, hunger signals intensify dramatically, and crucially, the body may begin breaking down lean muscle tissue, not because autophagy has failed, but because it has completed its primary work and the body is now looking for other resources to sustain itself. What was once a beautifully orchestrated repair process starts to shade into something more desperate, and desperate biology rarely produces the outcomes you're looking for.
This distinction matters enormously because the cultural conversation around fasting often glorifies extremity. Longer is better, harder is braver, more deprivation means more benefit. The science does not support this. It never has. The research consistently shows that the most significant benefits of autophagy are achievable within the 16 to 36-hour window. Beyond that, you are not unlocking deeper healing. You are overriding the signals that made healing possible in the first place. There is also a critical difference between autophagy and starvation that often gets lost in these conversations. They look similar on the surface. Both involve the absence of food. Both involve the body using internal resources for fuel. But biologically, they represent entirely different states. Autophagy is the body operating intelligently within a controlled, voluntary period of nutrient scarcity. It is selective, targeted, and regenerative. Starvation is the body in crisis, breaking down healthy tissue indiscriminately because it has no other choice. The shift between them is not dramatic or sudden, it is gradual, which is exactly why timing, awareness, and listening to your body are not optional considerations. They are the entire strategy.
What makes all of this even more fascinating is that fasting is not the only way to activate autophagy. It is the most direct and most well-studied trigger, but the same cellular pathways can be nudged by other means. High-intensity exercise temporarily depletes glycogen, activates AMPK, and creates a fasting-like metabolic environment in your cells. The autophagy that follows a hard workout is real and meaningful, which is one of the reasons exercise is so consistently associated with longevity across populations. Cold exposure, whether through cold water immersion or cold showers, activates similar stress response pathways that support cellular repair. Heat therapy, specifically sauna use, has been shown to activate heat shock proteins that work alongside autophagic processes to protect cellular health. Certain plant compounds called polyphenols found in green tea, turmeric, blueberries, olive oil, and red wine can activate AMPK and sirtuins directly, mimicking some of the metabolic signaling of a fasted state. Resveratrol, quercetin, and EGCG are among the most studied of these compounds, and while none of them replicate the full depth of fasting-induced autophagy, they offer meaningful support for people who cannot or choose not to fast for extended periods. Sleep is perhaps the most underappreciated autophagy activator of all. During deep sleep, insulin levels fall naturally, growth hormone pulses, cortisol stays low. The brain undergoes its own form of cellular cleaning through the glymphatic system. The body, given uninterrupted rest, performs extraordinary maintenance work that overlaps significantly with what extended fasting achieves. This is one of the reasons that chronic sleep deprivation is so consistently linked to accelerated aging, impaired immunity, and increased disease risk. It's not just tiredness, it's a failure of the body's nightly repair cycle.
The practical takeaway from all of this is not that you need to fast for 36 hours every week. It's not that you need to push yourself to the point of exhaustion or deprivation. The real insight is that your body has a deeply intelligent repair system built into its biology, one that activates when given space, time, and the right conditions. Short daily fasting windows of 16 hours, practiced consistently, keep this system regularly engaged. The cells never accumulate too much damage before the cleanup cycle runs. Inflammation stays lower, energy stays cleaner, the brain stays sharper. Occasional 24-hour fasts, done thoughtfully and with proper electrolyte support, deliver a more significant reset, the kind that researchers believe can meaningfully impact immune function, metabolic health, and long-term cellular aging. And for those who are metabolically healthy, medically supervised, and experienced with fasting, the 36-hour window represents the most potent autophagic experience the body can safely produce. But perhaps the most important thing to understand about autophagy is that it is not a destination. It is a rhythm, a natural oscillation between building and repairing, between feeding and fasting, between growth and renewal. Modern life has largely eliminated that rhythm. Constant access to food, snacking culture, the normalization of eating from the moment you wake to the moment you sleep, these habits have suppressed a biological process that your body depends on to stay young, resilient, and healthy. Restoring that rhythm doesn't require extreme sacrifice. It requires awareness. It requires understanding what your body is actually capable of when you give it the chance to do what it was designed to do. The next time you feel hunger, pause for a moment before reaching for food out of habit. Consider what that hunger might actually represent. Not just an empty stomach, but a body beginning to turn its attention inward, beginning to clean, repair, and renew. That signal, the one most of us have been taught to silence as quickly as possible, might be one of the most powerful biological opportunities you encounter all day. Your cells have been waiting, patiently, quietly, for exactly this moment. The question is whether you are willing to give them the time they need to do their work.